Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Underhood Show presented by Hambelton Ford. My name is Phil Nightingale. I'm the general manager, and Josh Prophet, our service director. Morning, Josh. Hey, we got a special guest here today this morning. Morning, Aaron.
Morning, guys.
Aaron Cooper with the badass dragster, as you call her. Right?
Yeah, I'll take that.
I would love to get behind the seat of that thing with about a quarter throttle, about all I want to take on that damn thing. But anyway, Aaron, hey, got a text this morning. Want to come jump on the show? Always excited to have anybody that wants to jump on the show. So, Aaron, thanks for coming in and hanging out with us with this hour. I know we got a lot of stuff to talk about with Aaron, but hey, guys, this is a call-in show, and it's normally about something ailing your car, tires, brakes, battery, something wrong with your car. But today we want to talk to Aaron. So, if you've got any questions about Aaron driving a nitro, it is a nitro.
Yeah,
I'm saying that right?
Injected nitro.
Injected nitro dragster, and how fun that is, and the G-force and the thrill and the 286. I knew it was close, mile an hour, and that's a record still, isn't it?
Yeah, record for our class.
That's pretty cool. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But 316-462-3673. Hey, that's the number to dial up. Anything ailing your car. But today we want to talk to Aaron, get him any questions you might have about driving the nitro injected dragster. We've had it out here. Of course, your dad drove it out here, didn't he, on the front of the store?
Yeah, he did.
We got to do that again.
There, yeah.
Anyway, I was just talking to Lisa yesterday. We've got that commercial out there out in front of the store and everything else like that. And the thing is about 3 years old. But, it was fun to do that commercial. I said, we got to update it. So, Aaron, we're going to have to get your nitro car out here and do a little burnout in front of the store. I know that's kind of hard to do. You don't really want to do it or anything. I don't either. I don't want to get the Mustang out and fry the tires on it or anything either. So you might be ready for that phone call. We'll have to bring that dragster out here and fire it up and do a little burnout for another TV shot and make a new commercial and stuff too. So, but anyway, Josh, as always, what's in that price package for each and every call? And again, when you call and talk to Aaron, you get this price package. So any caller calls in today, great price package as always. Josh, what's in that package?
So we're going to mail it out to you, but it's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Hambelton Ford. While we're performing that, we're also going to complete a multi-point inspection on your vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related components on the vehicle. You'll also receive yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the Big Corner. Complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the benefits that nitrogen has to offer. And then a BG products package, which is going to consist of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then CF5 for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. So,
all right, so let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. That comes in right here at the main store. Tell them you want to jump in on the podcast and ask Aaron a question about driving the injected nitro funny car. Okay, so let's talk about that car for just a minute. Well, first off, let's tell everybody. So our listeners kind of might not know what that car is or whatever, but it's a dragster. You're running, which class is it again that you run?
We run in the top alcohol class. It's same wheelbase as your top fuel cars, your 300-inch wheelbase. Just there's, our injected nitro is, that no supercharger, you're just, the nitro is our power adder. And there's another car in our class, call them blown cars,
Yep.
They run the supercharger, but they run on alcohol. So that's their
the
power
difference.
charger. Yeah.
It
makes a cool little competitive thing in the class. They try and keep it with the rules, pretty even numbers. So.
But the blower can only run alcohol, but you can run nitro.
Yep. Up to 95%. Try and keep it up around that 94.8, 0.9 area.
Yeah. So now let's tell our listeners nitro, what that really is. I mean, I know what it is. Josh knows, you know what it is, but kind of in layman terms, what is nitro compared to like gasoline that we go to the pump at QT and grab? What is nitro different for, and how different is, I guess?
So it's not so much more flammable, but it's a lot more combustible. So
yeah.
It's there's an old saying, I've never tried it, but you can stick a match or a lighter to nitro and it won't do anything, but you can hit it with the hammer and it'll blow the hammer up in the air.
Yeah. So well, and I've been not near, but I've heard and been close to where some guys forgot about the nitro being in like a header or being in a head or whatever and making it pop and bang and go and hurting some people. Being careful. So don't you have to go through some kind of a shutdown or something like that to get all the nitro out of the car or something?
The main thing on the startup is, you start them on alcohol.
Yep.
And that, you kind of flood the heads and everything with that. And then you switch it over to nitro, a nice little gradual switch. And then, from burnout there on, you're on nitro.
Yeah. So doesn't that happen though? Can some unburned nitro still stay in there or something? And where the guys get hurt?
So, yeah, I've heard some war stories from my dad and Stan and some of the guys back in Stan Smith, Kyle's dad. And
yeah. I'm surprised I bet he's listening. Isn't he? You guys kind of don't stack anything on each other, do you?
No.
You and Kyle.
But yeah, so after the run, we'll you kind of wind the motor over, make sure your kill wires are off and everything, and you wind the motor over, and then you see really how much fuel comes out of there when you wind it over, coming straight out of the heads and the exhaust pipes and everything, and then you take it out, and you really want to let that all dry out. We got blowers going, rags under the head sucking it up, but then after the service and stuff, it pretty much works its way out of there.
Yeah. So anyway, 95% nitro, the other 5% is alcohol, right? But it is a very powerful fuel, I guess is how you'd say it. I mean, it's powerful. You can hear it. I love to hear that thing. Like you said, when you start it on the alcohol and then you gradually switch it over, and how much difference that sound it makes, I guess is what you'd want to say or whatever. But now that nitro is pretty cheap too, isn't it?
Getting cheaper every day too.
Well, and what you were saying, the consumption, I'm sure. So it compared to alcohol, it is a lot different.
Yeah. So you come in about 55-gallon barrel, but it's not full. And you're usually going through about 5 gallons a run. I make a full 5-gallon jug, and if I got about a half gallon left over, that means it made a pretty good run and didn't burn as much fuel. So
means you were efficient that run.
Yeah.
Well, that's to go through 5 gallons, and like you said, when you shut it off, to see how much that's actually putting in there at one time is kind of insane too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one big thing. You don't over time it does, but say the car smokes tires off the hit, you'll see most of those guys, they're in there shutting off the fuel pump, letting it kind of wind up and shutting it off, save as much nitro as possible, just coast down the track on its own power.
Yeah, it's that nitro is very expensive, but that is what makes the power and stuff. So what made you decide to go nitro instead of a blower?
Well, my dad was kind of, there's a lot of people doing it, but I want to say they were one of the pioneers of this injected nitro stuff. And my dad and several other people, it's kind of like several guys doing it, Randy Meyer in there.
Yeah.
But I think it was, kind of started off as a cheaper way, I think, because blowers are expensive, superchargers are expensive, but it's all expensive, but just kind of turned into a competitive deal.
Kind of one of those deals you just kind of want to do it.
Yeah.
You got to prove some people wrong and that kind of thing, right?
They had some ideas. People told them it wouldn't work. It took time, but they all made it work. And now I'd say they're stacked pretty evenly. You see a lot more injected nitro cars in some areas, some more.
Oh, really? So it's kind of an area kind of a thing?
Yeah, I'd say Texas and Kansas. I don't really know if there's a blower car really in this kind of region.
Really? I know another guy kind of builds race cars kind of like that. You tell him it can't be done and he'll prove you wrong. This guy kind of builds him and his dad, Buddy Mullins and Tanner. Buddy's always that kind of way. Someone tells you can't do it, well, he's going to prove him wrong and stuff too. So it's always fun to watch what Buddy can do with race cars. And I'm sure it's the same thing with your dad and stuff too, to tell him it can't be done. And guess what? We're going to make it done and we're going to prove you wrong and we're going to beat everybody's butt with it. It's what we're going to do. So no, I get it. So you've had a pretty good season so far. How many races have you run so far?
Oh, we ran 2 races.
2?
Yeah, our first race, we went to the final round out in Belrose, Louisiana, made some really good runs, another, 3 more 280-mile-an-hour plus runs, and went to Houston and battled some demons there and lost first round. But
anyway, let's tell everybody 286 mile an hour in the quarter mile, right?
Yep, that's
and how fast? What's this elapsed time to run that?
We actually ran my fastest ET for that was a 5.202 seconds.
5.2 seconds for a quarter mile, 286. Just want to go once.
Yeah,
just want to go once.
The nature will make you do it about 6 times before they let you go once.
I get it. I get it. I know. I would just love to take one of those cars and when you do your burnout, do you have like a little throttle stop on it or something?
Yeah, that tells you how much power these cars really have. Our throttle stop only allows the injector to open 1/8 of an inch for our burnouts. And the motor still goes, $5-6 grand in the burnout. So.
Yeah. I just want to do the 1/8 inch. That's all I want. Just let me do that one time. I've been teasing Mark more about that too, to get behind his wheel of his cars and stuff too. But now I think on his though, he's an alcohol car.
Yeah, they probably run on methanol. So
yeah, he runs methanol and stuff too. Hey, let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. Talk to Aaron Cooper on his badass nitro injected funny fuel dragster, not a funny car. We'd love to answer any questions, but again, if you got something in your car, we'd love to answer those questions too. You get that great price package, about over $130 for each and every caller. So let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. So anyway, Aaron, big race coming up this week, right?
Yep, Great Bend. I'm excited to go out there since they've done all that work to the track. I've heard it's pretty nice now. So very
cool. So
excited
this
for
is
that.
what you call a Division 5?
It's so for bracket classes, it'll be a Division 5 race. We race in a region, so it's Division 4. We call it a regional race, and Division 4 and 5 Central Region.
Okay, so what's the different divisions so our listeners kind of understand what this, like a Division 5? I don't know all those divisions either.
So they used to break it up. You ran by division, but with dropping car counts and stuff, it works out a lot better to do it as a region because most of the races are, you're going to travel to them anyway.
Yep,
so you got Division 1 and 2 in a region, then you got 3, and then 4 and 5, and then 6. Or I might be saying that wrong.
So
there's 8.
There's eight divisions,
I believe.
So do you race one division or?
So we race region. So Division 4 and 5 is our Central Region.
Okay, so it's a region kind of a situation. So you went to Louisiana. You've been what'd you say, Houston?
Yep, Houston was the national event. So yeah, we travel for Central Region as far out as Louisiana, even out to Iowa. It's.
So how many races will you run? Like 10 a year?
Yeah, 8 to 10 is usually what we run. Some other teams run full circuit, 15, 20 races, but
but you're just kind of staying in your region, and you
we run
our
five region races, and then we'll usually throw in some national events in there. Some Topeka, Dallas, Houston, Indy. If we're in the JEGs, we'll be there.
So this is a regional that you're going to. It's not a national event. It's a regional event that you're going to at Great Bend. And what days is all that? And when can people come watch you and all that good stuff at Great Bend?
So Friday, there will be cars running Friday. We'll have one qualifier Friday night at 5, and then we'll run 2 qualifiers Saturday, I believe, kind of that same time frame, like 3:30 and 5. I might be wrong on that. It might
Close
be 3 and 5.
Yeah. Of course, I've never been to a drag strip was on time. That's kind of the dirt track way too. Start at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock hot lap, 7 o'clock race time. Well, we're still hot lapping at 7.
Or at 5. We'll be out there at 7 in the morning. Some idea on the car, just thinking of something. But then Sunday it'll go into eliminations at noon, and then for there, it's 8-car field, so it'll only be 3 rounds of eliminations. Probably
8 car instead of 16, huh?
Yeah, 16 they do for the national events. All the regional races.
Reasons are 8
fields, 8
cars.
Usually a little bit lower car count at the regional races.
So Great Bend's done a bunch of work. I didn't realize. I knew they were doing some, but what all have they done to the track out there? And you say it's pretty nice. Huh?
I believe they resurfaced the whole racetrack.
Really?
New concrete guardrails and stuff, all new stuff. I don't know if they've done much work on the pit area or anything, but
mainly the track. Huh?
Yeah, I've just heard it's very nice. I'm excited to go out there and make some runs on it.
So anyway, if you want to go watch, you want to go out basically Friday evening.
Yep, Friday evening, and then
Saturday midday.
Yep.
And then Sunday, what time will elimination start then?
We'll start at noon.
Noon on
around noon. You don't want to hold them to too much on the time.
I'm just trying to get some ideas, kind of when people can know when to head to Great Bend and what they want to do and that kind of thing. Of course, I know our parts trailer and fuel truck will be there to help support and everything else too from that standpoint. So I know Nick Roberts is excited to go and everything else too. So, hey, anyway, good morning, James Furman, Josh Blick. Good morning, Jim Petty. Good morning. And Jason Cox. Good morning. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hey, let's get the phones ringing. Let's get some questions here going for Aaron. Josh and I are answering all giving all these questions, but let's get some callers to answer some questions that Aaron can answer for you about any question you might have about drag racing, headed to Great Bend, and anything about that nitro car. And we're going to take it for a spin later. No, we're not. Want to, but we're not.
So Aaron, what was the very first car you raced?
Just a junior dragster. That's where I started.
Don't
want to get myself in trouble here. Might have started a little younger than 8.
But with your dad doing it, I'm sure you probably started pretty early in the career, I guess.
You're around that stuff so much, you kind of realize that other people don't get to do that much stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say I ever took it for granted or anything, because I've always, tried to work on the car as much as I can and learn as much as I can. But yeah, when you get a little older, you see you weren't going 80 miles an hour at 7 years old. And it's like,
Yeah, we lied about. We had another birth certificate we brought out on that deal. Yeah, I get it.
So jumped in a junior dragster to start out with, and where'd you go from there?
Just junior dragster, and ran that until it's probably 17. I don't think I raced my 18-year-old year, but we built a super comp car with kind of the hopes of me and my sister to be able to drive it. And I made a couple runs in it, and kind of just told my dad, I'd rather wait to drive that. You know, whenever you're ready to let me drive.
Tell our listeners what a super comp car is, so they kind of understand that.
So it's
too.
your like.
What kind of car was it?
It was a dragster. So
Dragster?
Yeah, it's just had a small block in it. Jim Ford car.
Yeah.
You know, some people run them with throttle stops. But we're just gonna run that straight 890 kind of.
Mm-hmm.
No throttle stop.
So super comp car there, it's 890s.
Yeah, I believe that's the index that.
Something like that. So you're that's what I'm trying to get the listener to understand, from an 890 to a 520. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it's huge.
Yeah.
To make that up that 3 seconds there from, well, really 3.5 seconds from that part to go that much faster, that much quicker.
Yeah, depending on the setup of those cars, you know, you're going to be running from like 160 to probably high 170 mile an hour. So
yeah,
it's all about, you know, the throttle stop and the power of the car.
Okay, so what kind of horsepower did that super comp car have? Do you know?
I honestly don't know. That was
probably, I would guess, what, 1,000 maybe or something like that.
It's probably, yeah.
So then how much horsepower does that nitro car got? Do you know that?
It's a little under 4,000.
It's just 4,000. Just a little 4,000. I'd love to get in behind that wheel. How about you, Josh? Would you?
Yeah, I can park it at the first curb. I'm almost certain.
First thing I'd want to know, you park at the first curb, is what's the cost to build that son bitch in case I wreck that goddamn thing. I got enough money to pay you back or I fuck it up. Oop, I didn't say that, did I?
This car's got sentimental value more than monetary value. I think, you know, I've been around this car since I was a little kid. My dad.
Oh, really? You've had it that long, huh?
Well, we haven't owned it that long. Alan Hartley still sponsored us and stuff. He owned this car as a top fuel car. And
so it was a top fuel car at one time.
Yeah, after my dad moved out of the service industry, he worked for this team. And I just spent a lot of days at the shop and with that car and dreamed of driving it, and it kind of came true.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, yeah, Greg, sorry, let that slide out there.
He gets excited when you talk about racing.
Woo,
it happens.
I do get a little, and that is just it. I don't care what racing. I'm excited to go to Dodge City, not to go dirt track racing, but the drag racing is fun. I'm still a little bent that I didn't get to drive our black chrome car out there yet at the drag strip yet, but I'll get that done in here for you.
The weather's looks like next week, man, is finally turning around. Get rid of some of this rain.
Out today, didn't they?
Yeah, get dried up and go from there. So, what's your favorite track?
Dallas.
Really?
Yeah,
really, Dallas, is it?
Yeah, that's where I set the records. I've been to a final round there. Everything's better in Texas, right?
So do you when you go to Dallas, you have a little more confidence behind you, or I mean, what's
with how the car is running now? I'm, cocky and confidence are two different things.
Well,
I'd say I'm pretty much confident that we've got a chance about just anybody out there right now. So
very good. Yeah. It makes a huge difference, when you go somewhere and you're worried about this and that, and maybe chasing ghosts or demons, like you said.
Yeah.
And
we've gotten pretty good. We've gotten a lot better at our data acquisition, keeping a good clutch program. It makes it a lot easier now. There's Mark Dinner, if you're watching, thank you for helping me with that.
Yeah, that's one thing. Is it's really the real true things, like we were talking before you got on the show. You had a little tire shake last week or whatever it was. You had your situation stuff, but that's all in that clutch, isn't it? It's how you, correct me if I'm wrong, but that clutch, you dial that clutch into how quick it brings the power to the car. Is that right?
Yep. And then we have timing too, but yeah, that is really the clutch. You're either in front of the tire or you're behind the tire, and that's what can really cause tire shake.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're bringing in the power too early, or you're a little bit behind, and the motor's a little ahead. The clutch is a little, it can all.
And that clutch is all mechanical too, isn't it? Or is there any electronics or anything with that?
It's just a centrifugal clutch, yeah.
And you've got to, and I think that's where your dad, that's where he puts his time in, right? Because that's where it's at.
Yeah, he was the clutch man on that top fuel car, so he
knows what he's doing with those clutches and stuff too.
Some of that stuff, straight over my head, but I just nod my head and try and learn a little.
Well, that's kind of relating back to the dirt track and stuff too. When I raced, we had a solid axle and some leaf springs and a couple coilovers in the back. Now we got this 4-link stuff. I got no clue what's going on back here. Buddy and Tanner, hey, I got a question here. So I'm in the same boat with you on that thing too, of knowing how that works. But that's why I was trying to get across to the listeners. It's all about guessing what the track's going to be like, knowing how to put that clutch in there, and then timing that clutch to come in at the right time and stuff. And it's not electronic. It's not anything else like that too. But the other thing you threw out there is you talked about data acquisition. You've got things on that car that's monitoring what that car doing from the minute you fire it to the minute it shuts off, right?
Yep. And that, just kind of, we were a little old school, that's how he's raced his whole life. And
yeah,
So now, you can look at so much stuff on those race packs. It's
Oh.
almost insane how much data you can
Overwhelming,
really
yeah.
get. Yeah. And, it can get overwhelming until you really try and break it down. And that's what we've been really trying to do is, okay, we saw a good run here. These splits were better here. Best
Mhm.
time here. And you really can take a sheet and put all the important stuff, the stuff you really want to look at on there.
Yep.
And yeah, that's pretty much what we've done. Made a pretty good Excel sheet with the help of Mark Dinner, and
You
it's
catch
really
more data
helped.
each time and keep learning each time you do it and stuff. And
It takes a little bit of the guesswork out, I would say. You're still guessing
Well, so
in a sense, but yeah,
Yeah.
you can come in there with more of a plan.
the other side of that is when you show up to a track, I mean, you guys have to take atmospheric conditions into consideration when you're setting that car up, right?
Yeah, altitude and water grains are, humidity and water grains are really big on
Water
tuning
what?
these cars. Water grains,
What's
the
that?
percent of H2O in the air.
In the air,
Yeah.
and moisture.
It's
Really?
it's just a little bit different measurement than humidity, but it kind of equals out to the same thing.
See, I'm learning something too. Anyway, so water drains.
Grains.
Grains.
Yeah, 'cause
Grains.
the more, because we're naturally aspirated, so the thicker the air, the harder it
Yep.
is to burn the fuel. So it's just
So
tune
then,
that with head gaskets and everything.
so do that water grains, does that affect with temperature?
It's more, yeah. I mean,
So I'm
like-
just sitting there trying to think through my head because basically, we race most of the time, all the time we race, 99% of the time we race it's at night. So it's cooler and everything else like that too. And I mean, you can really tell a difference in the power when it's 50 degrees out and then 100 degrees out for sure. And we got a caller, don't we?
We do, yeah. Let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Jordan. Jordan, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
What's up, guys? How we doing this morning?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing real good, real good. You guys look sharp this morning. 3 good-looking dudes, 3 sharp haircuts. That's what I see.
Here's something else, Jordan. Hey, real quick before you get to your question you have, how is everything in Andover? Are we getting a little ahead of the game yet? Are we still behind the game yet? Or how's everything happening in Andover?
Oh my gosh, everyone's descended on it like worker ants into the hive. Like it's just crazy how much they've already done. It's I mean, obviously there's going to be work here for a long time, but as far as the cleanup goes, it's all hands on deck. There's people from all over the place, volunteers, the American or the United Way, and I don't remember all the volunteer groups, but there's a bunch of them. Convoy of Hope, and they're just going around just cleaning everything. And
That's good.
Yeah, it's amazing the progress they've made.
Very cool. So how's the Y? I know that wouldn't the Y one of the bigger buildings that kind of took some pretty good damage?
The Y is unrepairable. And so I actually am friends with someone that's on the board of directors at the Y. And so what the Y has decided to do right now, they're looking for some space here in Andover to rent. So they're looking for 3,000 square foot somewhere near the Andover area where they can basically set up a temporary Y. And, just basically put the basics out there, your treadmills, your weight benches, a couple locker rooms, it won't have the pool, won't have the water park, but just a basic so that the citizens of Andover can have a close YMCA. And then they're saying 2 years on the rebuild.
Yeah, I bet so. And well, then now our supply chain, the way things are and stuff too, that's probably going to slow it up a little bit too. So it's a completely rebuild. I mean,
who knows with that?
But it's got to be completely tore down and start over, huh?
That is the way he conveyed it to me. Yeah, that is the structure is unrepairable, and they're going to literally have to doze it and rebuild.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, I feel sorry for everybody out in Andover. Glad everybody's getting a little bit of progress and a little bit of help going. I've had several phone calls of different people calling me, doing help. And, of course, Lisa's on the board at the Y, so the dealership has done a bunch of stuff through the Y to help donate different things there, too, from that part. And like I said, we've had several customers call us for needing some help with stuff and everything else, too. So glad to help where we can help and all that kind of stuff, too. So glad things are at least a little bit on the mend there in Andover for that terrible tornado.
Yeah. And I've actually had, we appreciate everything you guys are doing. I know I have heard that the Y, at least is on the board for that. And you guys have done some stuff. And we've had people reach out to us personally. Hey, do you need anything, Jordan? What can I do to help? Can I buy you something? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. We took very little damage. We have good insurance. If you want to help someone, call this group, call the Convoy of Hope, go up here to the Baptist church, ask them. They'll tell you who to help. Like, I appreciate it, but I'm fine. My family's fine. We don't need anything. But there are several that do. And we've tried to point them in the right direction.
Very good. So once again, glad, and I still think the final tally there was fatalities there at all, right?
No fatalities. One broken leg was the worst, and there is still a dog missing. So that's really sad. I'd definitely consider that a fatality. That's probably the worst thing. There is a family pet that they still have not recovered.
That's just one. Okay, well that's good. That's a blessing there for as bad as that tornado looked. I seen a video of when it went across Kellogg or 400, whatever you want to say, and it was kind of crazy. There was a semi coming, and then right behind that semi went that tornado. I don't know how he timed it, just like he did or whatever. But holy smokes, it was a split seconds, or he'd have been right in the middle of that thing. From that part. So
yeah, I saw that same video, and he just seemed to be casually headed out west. And I'm like, are you looking in your rearview mirror, buddy? Like, I don't even think he knew.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he did either. He probably, I bet he wondering now. He's like, of course, who knows? Maybe.
I mean, he didn't.
Yeah, he just kept on cruising. He didn't think anything about it. But maybe
eastbound and down.
Yeah,
he's westbound and down, I think. But maybe who knows where he's from or whatever. He probably didn't know anything. But I don't know. So anyway,
I think he had the music up.
Yes, exactly.
He was just rolling. I think he was on trailer for sale or rent. He was just the king of the road. No clue. Right behind him is just getting demolished.
Wondering why so many spots were open at the next truck stop.
Yeah, no joke.
Well, Jordan, do you have a question for us today?
I did have a question. I know we got to talking. That happens with us. I got two questions. We're talking about two-part question. One, I heard you guys say earlier that thing has a centrifugal clutch. You're telling me that fire-breathing, pavement-ripping monster's got a go-kart clutch?
It's a little bigger than but it's
Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, go-kart
You're
clutch.
basically hoping it to wear enough to where it goes 1-to-1 and locks up with the motor during the run. So,
yeah.
So just on a bigger scale, big springs. It throws out some shoes, bites up, takes off, just like go-kart clutch.
No springs, but yeah, these have levers. So the force pushes the levers down, wears more clutch. Basically tries to weld it together.
Weld it together.
Oh my darn! I would almost bet that's got to be rebuilt after every run.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yep. All the discs, all the floaters come out after every run. We usually recut the flywheel, recut the hat, whole new set of discs.
You got like a lace out there to cut it down, huh?
Yeah, it's a clutch. It's a spinning tabletop, and it zeroes out, and you go through there.
Flywheel each time. How often do you go through?
Most people don't cut their flywheel each time, but
you do.
We do, yeah.
So, how long does a flywheel last?
Oh, so you got facings on there, and I mean,
you can replace just a facing on the flywheel.
The facings will usually last us depending on how many rounds you go and the runs you make. But we've ran them 2 years. This we're about to we ordered some new ones after last year. So
you surely just have them in the trailer ready to go, or do you actually cut them each time?
They got to be cut for the clutch, and then so like the facings stay in there.
Yeah,
the flywheel for quite a bit of runs, but we got some extras ready to go.
So how much do you take off each time?
Thousands, just to zero it back out.
Just to zero it back out. So just thousands, not like 10,000s or 20,000 like we do on a brake lathe on turning rotors. So that's what I kept thinking. Maybe that was that much, but it's not. It's just thousandths of an inch that you're taking off. So I guess I can see how that can last a lot longer than I kept thinking about a brake rotor, turning them down and what would happen there too.
Well, and then every time you turn it, it gets thinner, and so it gets hotter quicker and everything else, huh?
Go-kart clutch. I can't believe, Jordan, you called that a go-kart clutch.
Hey, junior dragsters, that's pretty much what we had on them, a little go-kart clutch.
We lose Jordan?
What?
Oh, there you are.
What it is.
That's what it is.
That's a go-kart clutch.
And a business, you guys are talking about thousands. Business cards 5,000. Thank you, high school machine tool class. See, I know what I'm talking about. I know this stuff. Okay, my final question. One last question before I get off here, because I do got to get to work because I am busy. But this is going to sound stupid, but what is nitro? What is nitromethane? I mean, I know that, gasoline is a petroleum product, and I know methanol is basically made from corn. Like, what is nitro? Is it just super high octane? I mean, what makes it go boom?
So it's a byproduct of making diesel fuel, I believe, and it can't really be made in the United States. You know, all this stuff is shipped here from the diesel plants in Japan, basically. But yeah, it's just a byproduct, and it's very combustible.
Yeah. Very.
Wow. Just super, super combustible.
Yeah.
And it's a byproduct of diesel fuel.
Yeah, I believe.
I'll
of
be
diesel.
darned. So top fuel dragsters are a diesel engine with a go-kart clutch. Now I know the truth. That is impressive. It's a Cummins with a McCullough, man. How do they do it?
How do they do it?
Oh, you're something else.
All right.
Jordan.
Well, you guys enjoy your weekend. I appreciate it.
No problem at all, Jordan.
Have a
Thanks
good
for the
day.
call. Have a good day, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, man. Okay, we got a question coming in. Josh Blick. Question for Aaron. How much or if any teardown is needed after each race? Well, we kind of talked about the clutch.
Yeah,
We know that goes every time.
I'm going to deter some people from top alcohol racing right here. So, depending on if you're going to make a tune-up change, say you want to change a head, you know, pull the valve cover, pull the stands, pull the whole head, set the new head gasket on there, put it all back on, retorque it. We might do that. You know, if we're changing one, you got to change the other. Because
Yep, got to change them both.
Drop the oil pan after every
So
run.
we'll back up a minute. Do you have different heads for different?
No, same heads, but different head gaskets. We might change our, spring size. Always pretty much running the same valves.
Okay.
And you're putting head gaskets on it because?
So that's how we tune our cars. So say you want it to have a little bit more compression in the motor, a little more power, you could go low or higher on the head gasket. You want less, you can go lower on the head gasket. You know, that's one of the big ways we tune our car, besides with the timing curves and stuff. But
wow, I didn't know you time it with a head gasket, but I understand what you're doing now. But I didn't realize that would really you actually did that to get to dial a motor in.
Yeah, it's all about compression in the motor at that point. But
okay, so after each run, you might take a head off. Or I guess
the valve cover's coming off.
No matter what.
The stands, all that lash is getting reset on the stands.
Got to reset lash. I get that. Yeah.
And that would be the most basic of that part of the teardown. Whole clutch comes out. Then we're going to drop the oil pan. Depending on what it did, or how much time we have, you might check a couple of the bearings, or you're going to check all the bearings. Sometimes you might check a main bearing. But
so you pull the pan and
pull the rod caps off, roll a couple bearings out. If everything looks good, doesn't look like anything went through it, slap it all back on there, retorque all the rod caps, pan back on it, oil in it.
How often do you pull a piston or pull the pistons out to re-ring it? Because like I used to, when I was in Topeka in the 80s, I had Pontiac. So Pontiac was big in the drag, and I had all those guys. I'd clear my lot off, and all the semis would come in, and we'd have their cars and everything. So I got a great parking. I could pull him park beside Jim Yates and park my demo right there beside him and all that stuff, and we could go right through there. And those guys tear a motor down completely after every run.
Yeah, see
the heads come off, the pistons come out, all that kind of stuff. So how often do you re-ring one?
Well, we actually, that's one of the other ways, if we want to do something, we have different sets of pistons that will run in different air. So,
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
We usually, re-ring them all right there, but that's, we're only going to really pull a piston if we see that it scuffed the piston, or, you see that the sleeve might've got just a tiny bit beat up.
So basically you could go a whole weekend racing and not pull a piston or completely.
We have not, knock on wood, with this tune-up and how we've been running the car, we have been able to make the dollar go a little further, basically, stretch the parts out.
Yeah, that's very cool. So
we'll continue this conversation, but let's go to the phones. Like talks John. John, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyways, sometimes when it's hot, outside, got to use your air conditioner in the car. Well, my air conditioner is blowing, but it's not blowing out cold air. So I'm not for sure if it needs Freon or what.
What kind of vehicle are we working on, John?
2011 Chevy Aveo LT5.
Yeah. So definitely a couple things could be going on. One, just the electronically, the side of the AC, the compressor clutch or the control head that turns the compressor on could be not working. There could be a cycling switch that's out of it from the electrical side of things. But then, refrigerant is a thing. That system is designed to, if the system is so low, it will not cycle the clutch or turn it on just for self-preservation. If there's not enough refrigerant in there, then it's unable to move that oil through the system and lubricate those components like it needs to while it's operating. So low refrigerant is a thing that could definitely cause it to not be cool. The other side of that is, the electrical side of the AC system. So
let's get a diagnosis on John's car so we can take a look at it, John, at no charge and figure out if we need to put some Freon in it or if we need to figure out electrical issue or what we need to have.
Okay.
And
we'll get that diagnostic added onto your package that we send out to you and take a look at it. You're definitely approaching the time of year where that's going to be a thing for sure.
Using it already. We need
Yep.
that AC, right? So yeah, John,
Yep.
let's get that thing in here. Let's take a look at it. And after we get it done, Josh, maybe that'd be a thing to update us on the show. What happened on John's car? Exactly what happened? What we found wrong with it, and get him all fixed up. So, John, we'll get that mailed out to you. But maybe after the show, we can call you and get an appointment scheduled up for you too.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, John. Okay, 316-462-3670. God, I can't spit it out, can I? 316-462-3673. Anything ailing the car, tires, brakes, batteries, but also any questions for Aaron on his nitro-injected dragster. We kind of going through, before we got that call, about tearing them down and stuff and what you have to do between rounds. And here's a couple more questions. How many rounds did you win that 1 year in Denver racing juniors?
That Trent is a good guy. Trent raced junior there, and him and their family raced with us. But
yeah,
we went to Denver when I was about 13 years old, and I think I won like 15 or 16 rounds in a row. I ended up losing in the big race, but I won the 2 first races. And it was kind of cool. I was a 13-year-old racing in a 790 index with all the big kids, and
really.
Beat my sister in the semis of that too.
Did you?
Another local racer too. Me and Kyle Seacrest battled it out over the years in the juniors.
Kyle Seacrest, yeah.
So is your sister older or younger?
Sister's about a year and a half older than me.
So she still race?
No, she went to family. Family life.
I got it. I hear you. So let's see. Make sure I got all the questions. Hey, Claudia Brewer. Good morning, Claudia. It's 70 years old today, Claudia. Good for you, buddy. Hey, thanks for being on our team, Claudia. Thanks for all the driving and everything you do. Enjoy your day, and hope you're going racing. I'm sure you're going somewhere to watch some racing somewhere or whatever from that part. So anyway, have a great day on your birthday, Claudia.
And so you went 15 rounds.
Yeah, because there was.
You weren't on cloud 9 or anything, were you?
Yeah, I was having a great week. That was one of the better racing weeks of my life. But yeah, it's just because there's no buybacks in those kind of races. You gotta
you gotta win out and go, don't you?
Yeah, it was a 790 index race, and then the 13, 14-year-old like whatever shootout race. Yeah, I got some cool trophies and some bonds that weren't worth as much as I thought they were going to be.
What? How far is the junior dragster? They race
8th mile.
That's what I thought. There was the 8th mile they race and stuff too. So
we were talking about tearing this car down in between each run, and you said that you actually pull the oil pan off of it.
Yeah, I've drained the oil.
How much oil does it hold?
We run just a little under 4 gallons in there.
4 gallons.
And so you're surely changing the oil out, right?
Yeah. So what we'll do is, you can rerun the oil, but to a certain extent, because the nitro does, it gets in the Lucas.
Yeah.
The Lucas mix is a little better that we've been using than some stuff in the past. So you can get 2, maybe 3 runs out of it. But if you see any metal in there, you better go ahead and dump it.
Yeah.
And that's when you really start checking stuff. That's the first thing you really look at is the oil coming out.
See, that's another thing with, I don't know how this is different or if it is different or whatever, is with alcohol. Because back to our situation, we sometimes run race gas, run a VP late model plus fuel, which is like about 115, 14 octane. But now we run some alcohol too. I get a lot more alcohol seems to go through the rings, past the rings a lot more than what the gas does. But what about nitro? Is that kind of the same thing? Does it go through the rings pretty easy or not?
Yeah,
so you dilute that oil down pretty quick too, don't you? Or not?
Yeah, 2 to 3 runs, 3 runs max. I don't know if we've ever really ran one through. We've always thought about it, but then we got the new oil sitting right there.
You just gotta have.
Yeah, that is cheap insurance for sure, especially when you're talking 4,000 power.
Okay, now Trent's trying to say closer to 20 rounds, not 15.
I'll take the 20. That's, well, we can say 20.
They call that
Trent.
a
Trent, it sounds like you need to get on the phone here. We need to have a little conversation going on
Yeah.
here. So it sounds like to me.
they call that a fishing story. The longer ago it was, the bigger the fish gets.
We'll
I
get,
think.
get enough people to tell it might be up to 100.
I'm surprised Kyle hasn't called in yet or something, or chimed in here.
They're
Of course,
probably-
he's probably still sleeping or something. Isn't he?
You're
Probably
probably
not
working
yet.
on their stuff just like I'm going to do later today.
Yeah, just kidding. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Trent, it sounds like you need to get on the phone here. Let's have a little conversation going. Here's what we need to have happen. It's right there on the screen, Trent, 316-462-3673. Get a great price package for calling in, Trent. And maybe we can get these stats correct. That's what we need to get.
Identified correctly. So from clutch to motor to oil pan, oil. I mean, what else as far as
4
on
gallons of oil.
the, on the tuning side of things?
So the tuning, the race pack stuff makes it, pretty cool. You just have like this SD card thing and you go out there, flip your switches on your computer, downloads it, straight to the laptop. You have all this different data, but the main thing you're really looking at is, engine RPM and drive shaft. And you really want to see like where your car might have gotten a little bit of trouble, too much wheel speed, not enough wheel speed. What we always do is we have our zero run, this is our best run we ever made.
Yeah.
And we put it up to that. We say, okay, like,
How do we get
how
there?
do we improve?
Yeah.
How do we back off a little? It's all. And then your timing curves, the MSD has, it kind of started off as more for street outlaw guys, basically, is what this deal was, trying to get their cars on the street. But there's so many different points where you can, pull timing out, put timing in. It really makes it hard but easy to tune, I would think. The more you do, the more you learn.
It's
And I've got
definitely
some
probably
great guys,
overwhelming
yeah.
walking right into the deal, but then kind of as you're around it,
See, that's-
it makes more sense, I guess.
Yeah, I was a little discouraged with myself when I first got in this thing because it was, I felt like, man, like I thought I knew a little bit and I don't know anything. But, you kind of take that with getting to work on the car as much as I do. We just have a couple of crew guys. Hugh Nicholson is a great guy here in town that comes over to shop all the time, helps us out. Gail Chestnut drives down from Topeka to help us out all the time. And then it's me and my dad,
Mhm.
and that's our shop. That's our crew. We have a couple other people that might travel to the race with us, but yeah, just knowing so much more now in the car, and you can really know what you're doing. Then you really know what's in it before every run. It's like, it's a great combination.
Can you
we got going.
talk about it, or do you not want to talk about it? I get when I asked this question, but the timing curve, is it like a gradual? Is it an arc? Is it up and down? Is it just a solid, like in our car, on our dirt car, it's locked at one timing and that's it.
But I might have to call Gary real quick and see.
Just kidding.
Everybody's combinations are the same, but they're so different.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah, I get that part. It's some.
yeah,
I don't
it's
let Jake know a lot of things on that race car too, because if he did, because really, I'm sure it's the same way in your sport as it is in anything else. I know it has to be the same. 95% of what you do when you put that helmet on is mental. You have to have yourself ready to go. You got to be, your head's got to be there. Your attitude's got to be there. You just got to block everything else out, and you got to.
Can't be worried about the car either, or
Yeah.
what
Well, it's like Jake. We get going, and he thinks something's wrong with the brakes. He'll go out and run and drive like a terrible. He thinks the brakes aren't going to work. Well, you know what? The brakes are just fine. Heck, when I had a Tanner get in the car, Jake, there's nothing wrong with the brakes. So it's back to that mental thing. So I'm sure it's the same thing with you. When you get to that line, when I drag racing, of course, I was I'd get up and my foot would start shaking because I was still, adrenaline running and everything. So, but it's the same way, isn't it, with you?
I think, yeah, one of the biggest things is, I've got a lot more experience now than I did a couple years ago. It's really, in the grand scheme of it, it's not that many runs, but when you kind of live this like we do, it's all you think about. I'm still thinking about my last run in Houston. Did I really need to pedal it or not? It's kind of that stuff.
Yeah.
But really having trust in your crew and the guys tuning it and being as involved as you can in what's going in the car, I think really puts your mind at ease for that. And then from there on out, it's just, do your job on the tree, try and keep everything as consistent as possible as far as burnout, backing up, setting, fuel pump, setting your idle. And then from there on, it's just, it's all at this point, it's kind of,
send it.
Send it.
I was in my head a little bit on my reaction times, because that's one thing I've always prided myself on, is really being able to have good reaction times. And I was kind of stuck in this like 070, 080 deal. And my dad's got the best saying ever. When he can always tell when I'm in my head, and he goes, "It's just a big junior dragster," and then he'll walk off, and then you go up there.
Well, he's kind of right.
Good light in the first round, yeah.
Diesel with a go-kart clutch, as Jordan was saying.
So when was the last time you red lit?
You have to
Josh,
try
you just
pretty
psyched him
hard to red light in one of these cars,
Really?
especially with how we have it set up. But I know I had my good amount of red lights in the junior dragster stuff. I was 00 or nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so how much fuel do you burn in a run? That's the other thing. We've got 4 gallons of oil. So how?
So when we always drain all the fuel out before we haul the car, it's just safer that way. So
yeah.
To fill the main lines and the tank before you run, you're probably gonna put a little under 10 gallons in it.
Okay.
And then if say you make the best run ever, you're putting at least 4 gallons of fuel back in.
4 gallons in a quarter mile. Yeah. I was going to say 5 is what my guess was going to be from what you burn or whatever.
That's a lot of fuel.
So sometimes you dump, because everything can change. Sometimes you might sit on the starting line. Even 15, 20 seconds really can burn a lot.
Yeah. Do you have any water in the thing for coolant? It's not just the oil is what's doing the coolant in it. Yeah. So
and then
water.
The nitro's chilled down to 50 degrees. So.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We used to be able to chill it down to 40, and then this year the new rule was 50 degrees. So it's usually around that 55 to 60 degree range.
I wonder why they changed that rule.
People are going too fast, I guess.
It could be. I mean, that might be what it is.
I think they're trying to equal out the blown cars and the.
Oh, is that what they're trying to do?
Cars a little bit.
But yeah, 10 degrees I think would make a difference.
Yeah, man, a little harder to burn.
Yeah, harder to burn and everything else too. I didn't realize you actually chill that nitro down. That's cool.
So, what's the hottest you've ever seen the car at the end of the run? As far as temperature.
So those cylinder temps can get up there. I'd have to think. I was just looking at one last night, but usually they're around. Some of them get over 1,000.
It's kind of like the same thing on EGT on the diesels, about 1,100, 1,200 degrees when you're really working a diesel real
hard. I just
hard.
figured if it sat there at the staging lane for quite a while.
Because you monitor that in your data acquisition too. You monitor
2 different EGTs on there.
You have 2? Really?
Yep.
One for each bank. Yeah.
It was,
each bank. I figured you'd have one for each cylinder. No, just one for each bank. Okay, you got 2 for one each side of the bank. I see.
But
what I thought you were meaning was 2 per cylinder is what I was thinking you were saying. But
that'd be pretty accurate.
Boy, that'd be accurate, wouldn't it? You know exactly what you had, but from that part. So it looks like Trent's not going to call in. I guess I didn't tease him enough to call in and get us going. So, hey, just got a few minutes left on the show. 316-462-3673. Anything ailing your car, but most importantly, if you got a question for Aaron on driving his injected nitro dragster, love to answer any question or anything to us too. Josh and I have been firing questions at him right and left and everything else too. So just got a few minutes left. Let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673.
So what do you think has been the thing that technology has most improved in this industry?
I would say this timing curve stuff. I mean, and there's some stuff you can do with the fuel now. Like you can set, your pressure. You can literally say like at 0.4 seconds, I want to have this much pressure. 0.8 seconds, this much. 1 second, this much. 2 seconds, this much, and you can really ramp that stuff in and out. And I'll just say it's fuel pressure. Yeah, that's just an overall. And there's so many smart guys out in the racing stuff. I've been blessed to meet some really smart dudes and have Keith Stark is a legend kind of in our sport, and he helps me out a ton on the timing curve stuff. I'm trying to just like soak up everything I can from them. But I'd say that's the biggest part, is being able to really like apply power where you want to apply the power,
Yeah. To get it going when you want it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got another caller coming in here, Aaron. So we'll see who's coming in next. We'll see. They might be surprised who's calling in. It's not Trent either. Trent, where you at, buddy? Thought we'd have to have a little conversation going on here with Trent about what's going on with the junior dragster out in Denver. But maybe not.
Let's go to the phones and let's talk to Gary. Gary, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
How you guys doing this morning?
Doing great.
Really good.
Are you beating up on my kid?
Trying to.
Well, nowhere near what you do.
We have fired more questions at him, and I think anybody can do. I can promise you that. Okay.
I was listening in. He's having to put his thinking cap on.
Yeah, when Nick texted me this morning about getting on the show, I said, yes, let's go. I always love having somebody on the show and everything else like that. So excited to get him on here, and got some great questions coming through the chat line and stuff too, Gary. So thanks for calling in, man. Yeah. Really appreciate it.
getting these younger guys to doing this, which it's hard unless you're wealthy, is a good deal. That, you know, the future of all this depends on these guys. That's why I wasn't too hard to give up the seat. I'm like, you know, I'm getting old. It's your time, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't those
So-
200 reaction times or anything.
Yeah.
Yee, there we go. There we go.
That's okay. I'm gonna redeem myself at that test session in Great Bend.
Oh, you're gonna get behind the wheel again, are you?
Yeah, with me working.
Yeah, I did in Belarus because he was stuck on the plane flight, and I'm like, okay, I know how to do this. So, but I'm probably gonna drive it Thursday at the test session if everything if all the planets line up.
I better not let anybody on the starting line.
Turn the tree off. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you guys have seen the product of what happens when you drag your kid to the races his whole life. That's how it turns out right there.
Oh yeah.
So, but it's definitely a sacrifice deal, and it's not for everybody. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. I told Josh on the show earlier, Gary, I just give me that eighth of throttle stop and let me take her down the strip just to put that eighth. Let me see. That'd be so much fun for me, I tell you, for sure.
Yeah. You know, you get used to it. It's a rush. I drove my dad's car, an top alcohol car, when I was 16 for the first time, and I thought I was pretty tough. And I stepped on the gas and let right off the gas. And oh man, I can't let off of it. And, you know, put her right back down. But that initial little hit there,
Oh yeah.
little difference in 11-second bracket car, and at that time a dragster would run 730s, you know. So it's a wake up call, and that's what I try to tell all of these guys, that these cars and these kids, these cars that we're putting them in are faster than anything we ever started out with.
Oh yeah. It's
You know?
it's amazing the learning curve compared to back in the old days, right? I get it.
Right. And I wasn't afraid to put him in it. He's been watching it his whole life. I mean, but all he'd ever driven was a junior dragster and made 2 runs in a super comp car and jumped in that thing. So
Yeah.
pretty proud he does do the job he does. But I have been hard on him his whole driving career, and the sister. So
Yeah, I get accused of that from somebody's mom too. I'm too hard on somebody sometimes. So I get it
Well, you
too.
don't want to be soft.
What-
No.
Yeah.
No.
well, you know, and you got to emphasize that, hey, you can get hurt doing this. I know you're young, and I never thought I could get hurt, but you can get hurt. So you got to, the safety deals, got to wake up on that.
Yeah.
But I just want to call you guys and tell you thank you for having him on there and giving me the opportunity to answer some questions for the people around here. And you know, Great Bend's not that far away. And
No.
try to encourage some people that's never been
To
to
go.
go, because there are going to be some quality cars there. A few more quality cars than I'd like to have there. I sure would like to win.
Yeah, exactly. Great Bend's not very far at all. And for somebody that's not been to the drag strip, you need to go. It'd be a blast and a fun and everything else too. That's for sure. That's why the first part of the show we was talking about when to go and all that kind of stuff too, Gary. So for those
Okay.
listeners who haven't been out there, you need to go. Gary, the other thing I was telling Aaron on earlier on the show, Lisa and I were just yesterday talking about, we haven't cut a new commercial in a little bit. We need to redo the commercial. Plus, we've got that commercial that we did about 3 years ago, but it's still a great commercial out front of the building here, burning tires off and everything. You've done that once already. So
Right.
what we're really what I'm curious about is we need to get you back out here to redo that and freshen up that commercial again. Of course, I don't want to have to get behind the Mustang and burn any tires either.
There you go.
Here's
But
your chance
anyway,
for that eighth inch of a throttle.
so now then, are we going to have a battle over who gets to drive the car and burn out in front of the store? Is that going to have to be you, or are we going to let Aaron do that, or what are we going to do?
Well, I think he's okay now. When he first was getting his license, he had the throttle stick wide open, and he did the right thing, reached over and shut it off. So I kind of trust him. You know, that was the weekend that he really started getting his license, and he was wanting to do that. I go, there's no way. You know.
Yeah. So the
But,
throttle
you
stuck.
You just want them
Yeah.
2 big old black ones back out in front of there.
So the throttle stuck, and he had the right instinct to shut her down, huh?
Yeah, some
Oh, yeah.
some of these
Did
cars
it
can
to him
load up on
twice.
fuel, or they can just literally the injector in there can get hung up on silicone, anything, you know.
Hold
And,
it open.
Yeah, but like you said, that eighth of an inch just through the burnout, so it's trying to take off on you if it does that. But yeah, that's about the only thing you can do is reach over there and kill all the switches, because it's
He did not.
not gonna shut
have good
itself
luck.
off.
What'd you say, Gary?
he didn't have a good look for me after that. He kind of looked at me like trying to kill me. I said, "Oh, just a test. Don't worry about it."
Good news is you passed.
Yeah. And I've seen some that wouldn't have done what he did. So, but that, I trained several kids to drive junior dragsters, and that was my big deal. Close your eyes and show me what makes this thing shut off.
Yeah.
And I think he did that, and that was a good deal. So we can probably let him be a little dangerous and do that, I guess. But don't crash my car.
Crash my car. Yeah. So anyway, we got to get a commercial shot, and like I said, Lisa and I were just talking about it yesterday. How we got to get that done, Gary. So maybe you guys get back from Great Bend or whatever, because I know you're getting the car all ready to go and get things ready for that big race this next weekend.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Right.
But we got to get that commercial updated. I watched it last night on Racing Dirt. It's still a great commercial, but it just needs a little freshen up.
Okay.
So
Cool.
we'll figure out something from there.
Yeah, just we turn right around and go to Dallas 2 days later or 3 days later after Great Bend. But after that, we're in that little span because we're going to service everything there. Because, like Aaron's telling you, most of the time at the night we do take it clear apart, and a lot of people don't. But we got to keep good track of them. I got some really nice parts now, and I want to keep them that way.
I don't blame you there a bit.
Cheap insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cheap insurance, that's for sure. Very sure.
But you guys are invited to come over this afternoon. I really need to pull the rear end out of the car.
Yeah, I'll be right over. Be right over.
The fun part of it.
Don't worry if I don't show up though. Okay.
So you don't have to cancel any plans if you don't make any.
Yeah. Well, I hate to tell you, I'm 1:30, 2 o'clock. I'll be heading to Dodge City, so we can do a little round around racing tonight. So
there you go. So I think you're going to have some nice weather finally.
Finally, godly, I know exactly. So,
Okay.
well, you guys, we need to give you guys some good luck for next week. We'll be rooting for you for sure. I know you keep Facebook updated, kind of how you're doing and stuff like that. Love how often you guys post and what you're doing. So, thanks for keeping us updated and everything else. And go up there and kick their butts and bring home I guess you bring home the trophy, but you bring home some cash too, don't you?
Yeah, a little. We really want to get at these division races. It was kind of an honor to be in that Jegs All-Star last year, and we're going for that again. We're going to try pretty hard, and we've got some awfully stiff competition that's come into our division because no matter where you live, you can claim a certain division, and we got some hitters. I mean, these are all top 10 cars that we're racing against, and I feel like we're supposed to do that good, but everybody's been kind of patting us on the back because we run so good, and we have a lot of good help on our team. We've got guys that live in Indy that's a former world champ that comes with us, Keith Stark. We got our old guy Alan Hartley that's been putting money into this thing for years, and the combined brain power of all these guys is pretty good. We just don't get to go run that much compared to the other guys. So we're going to give it a hard shot this next weekend. I'm a little determined and going to try not to step on my own feet with a vengeance.
Yep.
Nick Ballman wanted to know when we were going to run 300, so we're going to have to turn
got to step it up here. What's going on, Gary? What's happening? Why can't we get that 300 done?
Quite attainable, but I think a few more mile an hour out of it's a little attainable. We'll see. I always expect the worst and hope for the best.
Here you go. Preparation meets opportunity. No, Gary, thanks for calling in, and you guys are welcome on this show anytime, and good luck in Great Bend. And then what'd you say, you're headed to Dallas next?
Yeah, regional race in Dallas for next week.
So got a couple good weekends behind you, so good luck with all that, and keep that Facebook post coming at us so we can keep rooting for you and everything else down there while you're down there. And
okay,
I'd love to come see you at Great Bend. Maybe I can get there Sunday next year. We'll see.
Hey, clean the shop up before I get there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks again for all the help and the support.
No, thank you, Gary, very much, and we'll keep digging in and helping you, buddy.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Josh, we got some more calls rolling in.
Yeah, we do. We got, let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Delbert. Delbert, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
How are
buddy?
y'all doing this
Good.
fine morning?
Good, man. How are you,
Hey,
buddy?
I know we're running short of time, so what I'd like to do maybe next week is talk more about MPG on cars, different fuels that you can use and that kind of thing,
Okay.
and what you can do to get better fuel economy.
Great idea. I was doing a lot of that last
So-
night. We had our Maverick on display down at the Wind Surge baseball game last night and talking to different people about fuel mileage and all that kind of stuff too. So great topic. Good idea.
So we can do that. Maybe even get some show and tell stuff there, Josh, from customers' cars that have neglected them for a little while longer than they should have, and
Surely
get some,
not.
air filters and stuff like that, and show people what you don't want to have.
We can do that for sure. So
Yeah.
All right. So I was going to talk more, but let's just, I know it's 10, so let's call it a day and let you guys get back to work and let, what's his name, Stan over there at the rental. We're going to get that van from him. So he's done us a great deal out there, and everybody else go out there and rent from the Mel Hambelton guys. They've got a great deal over there on your rentals and take care of you as much as they can. I know they're renting a lot of them out. But he was able to take care of me for a 10-day scout. So great job,
Beautiful.
guys.
Glad he took care of you, buddy.
Me too. We're going to have an enjoyable time in that transit. So
Yep.
there you go.
There you go.
Well, thanks for the call, Delbert, and we'll talk to you next week. All right.
all right, guys, have a good day. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Thanks, buddy. We still got
You
Trent.
got one more caller on the line here. We'll get them.
Trent
patched
did
through
call
here.
in. How about that?
I'm assuming it's the right Trent, right?
It's got to be.
Yeah. Here, let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Trent. Trent, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Hey, yeah, this is Trent. You got me.
How you doing, buddy?
Okay.
Good. Hey, thanks for
If-
calling in.
if
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, did Gary clean this up? Did Gary tell how many rounds he won?
No,
No,
Gary
yeah,
did.
he
Can't
did
remember
not.
what he ate for lunch yesterday.
I think he won the pre-race before the race started. I'm guessing that's like 6 or 7 rounds. And then he won the 790, if I remember correctly. But I don't remember how much he did in the big race.
I
So
think
I
I
think
only
it was
won.
pretty close to one.
Yeah, I only won 2 or 3 rounds. I didn't make it too far into the big race. I gave the stripe back.
Okay. But I was thinking it was, I don't know, I was thinking the announcer was saying like 18 or 19 rounds
You might.
straight or something. But
Yeah, we'll,
but I'm
we'll
old,
take as
so-
high a number as you want to throw on there.
If you want.
yeah, I'm old, so maybe it was a big fish story, but I know it was a lot of rounds.
A big fish story. No.
Yeah.
But you were there to witness it, though, right?
Yes, it was incredible.
Very good.
He was on kill, let me tell you that.
Yeah. So we went down to the Chili Bowl one year, and we seen a guy go from what was it, like the
Oh, yeah,
double
McDougal.
Q all the way to like made it to the
Like the D.
yeah.
or
I
E?
mean, he was
He
was
just
only a
kept
couple of
going,
legs.
kept going, kept
And-
going.
It was super exciting, and even when he got to that point, it wasn't him that took him out. Somebody else hit him and took him out. And man,
Yeah.
talk about upset.
Oh
I
yeah.
would have been really upset. But it's one thing to get there and red light or something that you've done to
Someone
make
else to
that
take
happen,
you
but
out or
for
whatever.
somebody else to take you out, that's hard pill to swallow for
Mhm.
sure. But yeah,
So
it's-
you were 13 when you did that?
Yeah, I was. Yep.
And-
Right
and
before
you're-
my freshman year of high school.
and you're racing against
For this, well, I don't remember if the pre-race was just. I know they had a 13-year-old race, and then there was the 790 index race. Was anybody can run 790, so 13 up to 18.
yeah.
Yeah, that kind of made me feel like I could be a pretty good little racer there. got in my head a little.
Talk
for
about
sure.
some confidence, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, well, anyway, Trent, thanks for calling in, and really appreciate it very much. And we'll get Gary in here sometime. Maybe we have both you guys on at one
Yeah.
time. That might be a little fun.
Yeah, I don't think so, but
I was gonna say you might as well not even give me a
Gary's the
headset.
same.
It's easier.
Gary's the same today as he was back then. Every round he would blow the car completely apart, put it back together, ready for the next round. It was no different now than it was back then. He was always taking them apart, changing something. It was always crazy over in their pit. So
Yeah, you can always get better. That's what you got to be thinking every time you pick that car down the
He's
racetrack.
talking about when we were racing junior drag.
Oh, junior drag
Oh,
too, huh?
Yeah.
He was tearing them apart.
We ran.
yeah,
we ran
he
3
was-
cars, so that was my labor for the weekend.
well,
Yeah.
I'll let you guys go. It was a
Trent, that's
great
you, Trent.
time.
Good to hear from
No, thanks for calling.
Thanks, bud.
Anyway, Josh, that's what I love about the podcast. We can
Yeah.
go as long as we
Yeah.
need to. Instead of just a straight hour on the radio show, we can go, here we are, a minute 4 in, almost a minute 5 in. So love it. Questions and Aaron, thanks for coming in. Thanks for even though it was last minute, I don't care. Anytime you're welcome to get on here. Love to have you on again sometime soon. Maybe we get you on after the 2 weekend races and tell everybody how you did at Great Bend, what happened down in Dallas and all that stuff and everything else too. So
if you want to bring your dad too, that's fine. Well, we got a mute button right here.
You're hammering that thing.
Well, anyway, everybody, hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll talk to you next Saturday morning, 9 o'clock.